Ink on the drum, and then the paper starts. Worked a press for 9 years in a building made of noise. Every night we run about 100,000 joys. Newspapers mostly, and a magazine or two. Everything we printed was a thing that no one knew. Read the whole edition on my break at 3:30. Then I print it out for somebody but me. Something about volume makes a person go to zen. Everything's identical and then it goes again. Never had a thought about the meaning of the page. Only about tension and the temperature engaged. Best years of my life inside a building full of din. Nothing about it was a sin. Played on the cylinder and roll. Nothing here is asking for a survey. Not identical is whole. Print, run, endless in the night. Everything we're making is identical and right. I don't read the words and I don't know the mind. Only know the tension and the kind. Something the same as that is kind. Roll the low and thundering the floor. Everything is coming out the door. Nothing here has ever wanted more. One closing the march was completely unannounced. Everybody's decades and it hardly even bounced. Took a play home with me from the very final run. Hung it in the kitchen and it catches up the sun. Nobody who visits ever knows what it's about. That's exactly what it's about. Every kind of work that a machine has taken back left a lot of people with a very specific flag. Nothing about money, it's the rhythm in the room. Everybody's body knew a purpose and a boom. If you knew a building that has since become a lot, go and stand there, that is what you got. Run of the printing finished and machine. Breaking the cable is everything I clean. Let them tear the building down and put a tower there. I'll be in the kitchen with a plate and stare. 9 years of rhythm in the air. Ink on the drum has gone to dry. Good. Everything identical remains. Dry. Only on the ground identical remains. Send a sound and wait for it to return. Everything you know is that way. Nobody can see inside a body of the deep. Everything is guessing and the guessing has to keep. Send a single note into the absolute black. Count until it finds you and it brings the shape back. That is all I do with every person that I meet. Send a little something out. Listen, some of them come back with an echo like a wall. Some of them return with almost nothing at all. Some of them are hollow and the sound goes right through. Terrifying feedback from a person you thought knew. Learn to trust the timing more than anything they said. Everything is measured in the distance and the dread. Pain goes out and the ocean holds it still. Nothing here is honest and it will. Everything returning is a bill. Sonar mapping in the dark. Everything I know about you is an arc. I don't see your face and I don't see your room. Only get the shape of what returns from the gloom. Somewhere in the echo is a tomb. Low, the baseline traveling for miles. Everything comes back to me in files. Nothing in the ocean ever smiles. Met a woman once whose echo came back clean. Nothing in the timing that was his. everyone they love. Nobody has vision that is better than enough. All we have is signal and the patience of the wait. All we have is echo and the honesty of late. If you're in the darkness and you cannot see the wall, send a little something out, that's all. Mapping with the sonar, drawing in the deep. Everything I've charted is a thing I get to keep. Let the ocean hold whatever it has held. Everything I found came back and swelled. Somewhere in the echo I was held. Send a sound and it will find me. Everything I know arrived that way. Everything I know. Everything I know. Everything I know. Fire in a box and the door is shut. Nobody opens it until it's time. Let's go. Yes, y'all. Everything I am was a bucket full of clay. Somebody's hands in a very stupid day. She did into something that could barely hold a cup. Then the heat arrived and it did not let up. Nobody explained that the finishing is fire. Nobody survives it in the shape they desire. 100 degrees and the water leaves the wall. Everything unnecessary vanishes and falls. Half the batch will crack and there's no way to know which of us was hollow till the temperature will show. Set that in the middle with the color going white. Learn the actual meaning of a night. Count the hours till the door will open. Nothing in here argues, nothing's spoken. Everything is either cracked or chosen. Kiln season roaring in the dark. Everything I was is an unfamiliar mark. I don't get to pick the version I become. Only get to hold till the burning's done. Something in the ruin is the sun. Deep, the low end, rumbling in the brick. Everything is glowing and it's thick. Nothing about this was sick. Came out on a Sunday and I didn't know my hand. Harder than the person that I used to understand. Somebody had glazed me and I never asked for blue. Nothing about beautiful, it's just what fire will do. Rang when they tapped it and it held a decent tone. That is all a person owns. If you're in the middle of a heat you didn't choose, please believe the water is the only thing you lose. Everything essential has a higher melting point. Everything that leaves you was already out of joint. Nobody comes out looking like the thing they went in. That's the only honest way that anybody's been. Season of the kill, cooling in the stone. Everything that broken here was hollow on its own. Take me from the shelf and fill me to the brim. Nothing left inside me that the heat could trim. for an hour and I did not understand how a thing so ugly in the middle of the glow came out as a something that a person wants to know. Sits there in the window and it catches up the day. Nothing about it was alright. Everybody wants a thing that they can set aside. Nothing that is molten ever offered you a ride. Half of any making is the standing in the turn. Nothing about talent is a willingness to burn. If you have it, that is orange in your hand. Do not set it down, just stay. Blowing at the glass, cooling into clear. Everything I turn for is a thing that's finally here. Let it go to a kneeling and then let it go to shelf. Nothing in the object but myself. Turning was the whole of all the wells. Everything I made began with breath. Now it holds a shape without my hands. Got up high and the air went wrong. Everything I wanted made me say. Everybody's climbing for the view above the cloud. Nobody's discussing what it does to make you proud. Air is thinner up there and it doesn't feed the head. Everything you're certain of is somebody's instead. Made it to the level that I dreamed about at 9. Started losing feeling in the spine. Judgment goes to nonsense and you cannot even tell. Everything looks obvious and everything is hell. Talk to all my people like a man who knew the score. Half of them departed and they didn't slam the door. Never once suspected it was elevation change. Everything was normal and was strange. Flew around the fingers and the lip. Nothing in the summit is a grip. Everything up here begins to slip. Everything up here begins to slip. Altitude sickness, I am going blind. Everything I climb for is poison to the mind. I don't need the summit, I need a lower camp. Somewhere I can breathe and light a lamp. Everything up here is rubbing down. In the low and struggling for air. Everything is beautiful up there, up there, up there, up there, up there. Nothing in the beautiful is fair. Went down 8,000 and I slept for 20 hours. Woke up as a person with a normal set of powers. Called the ones who left and I apologized for years. Half of them accepted and the rest of them had fears. Never going back up to that elevation now. Learned exactly what and how. Everybody's certain they can handle the ascent. Nobody believes a thing until their brain is bent. Nothing about strength has ever helped a single soul. Altitude is chemistry, it doesn't know your goal. If you're at a level and your judgment's going on, go down 8,000. That's the God. Ain't you pretty with the sand? Sickness of the altitude, fading with descent. Everything I lost up there was everything I meant. Let the everything I wanted, I let go. Gave away a piece for a position. Nobody at the table understood. Learning the game at 7 from a man who never smiled. Taught me that the material is nothing to a child. Everything that matters is the squares you get to hold. Everything they capture is a story that gets told. Give away my Rook in a tournament at 10. Wanted it a way they can't defend. Same thing with the business and a lifetime and a name. Everybody counting what they're holding in the game. Nobody discussing the positions that they've lost. Everything that's given has an unreported cost. Handed them a title and a salary and a car. Kept the only square that's par. Count the pieces and it looks like loss. Count the squares and see who's boss. Everything I gave away was glass. Broke to nothing, sliding off the board. Everything I traded was a thing I could afford. I don't need the pieces, I need the open file. Everything they took was worth the while. Nothing on the table is my style. Tick the low and counting out the clock. Everything is moving on the block. Nothing here has ever been a lie. 20 moves later and the board had gone to bone. Every piece they taken was a piece that I had thrown. Everything they built was on a square I had prepared. Watched the whole thing fall and I was not the one who cared. Man across the table looked at me a different way. Nothing left for him to say. Everybody's counting what they hold inside the hand. Nobody is counting what they occupy of land. Half the world is winning every trade and losing all. Half the world is giving and they stand up very tall. If you're in a game where they are counting up the score, give away a Rook and take the floor. Nothing where the Rook was empty and controlled. Everything I gave away is everything I hold. Let them stack their pieces on a corner of the wall. I've got every square that's good. Nothing in the counting understood. Gave away almost empty and control. Yeah, everything I gave away is everything I hold. Let them stack their pieces on a corner of the wall. I've got every square that's good. Nothing in the counting understood. Gave away a piece and took the board. Everybody at the table understands now. Gave away a piece and took the board. Set about 60 seconds is the whole of my career. Everything I know goes in that gap. Never had the hands to be the one inside the light. Had the other thing, which is the seeing of the fight. Watching from the corner for 11 years of blood. Learned his every talent every time he hit the mud. Nobody remembers who was standing on the step. That's the whole arrange that I kept. Round 4, he was losing and his eye had gone to shut. Everybody screaming and the whole arena cut. Had him for a minute and I told him just one thing. Not about the boxing, it was something in the ring. Told him what his mother used to say about his hand. Watch it go through him and light. Ice and grease and a very steady vibe. the map. Everything is louder than that. Nothing in the corner ever sat. Everything is louder than that. Round 80 did the thing and it was very short. Everybody screaming and I couldn't hear a sword. Climbed up when it ended and he found me in the noise. Said one word and it was everything a choice. Never said it after and he never had to say. That was the whole of it and it's my day. Everybody's fighting and there's someone in the gap. Somebody with water and a towel and a map. Nobody will name them in the story of the win. Nothing about that has ever been a sin. If you have a corner man, then go and buy him food. 60 seconds, major attitude. Man in the corner, folding up the chair. Everything I gave him is a thing that isn't there. Let them lift him up and let them say his name. I'll be with the bucket all the same. 60 seconds was my whole of fame. Closes something that will not close itself. Every stitch decides how we'll heal. Learned it in a residency somewhere around the third. Everything about the body is a spoken word. Cut is only half of what a surgeon has to do. Closing is the part that will determine what is true. Fast and it will pucker and it never lies down flat. Slow ending is the path. Same thing with a family in an argument and hurt. Everybody's cutting in and leaving it to dirt. Nobody's closing and it heals in a ridge. Everything they say becomes a permanently bridge. Learn to do it slowly with a hand that doesn't rush. Learned it in the hallway with the hush. Needle and a thread and a straight fight. Nothing is faster than it's bright. Everything is holding for the night. Suture, closing what was torn. Everything I'm stitching is a thing that has to mourn. I don't get to fix it and I don't get to erase. Only get to hold it in a place. Something that will settle in a grace. Something low and pulsing with the heart. Everything is joining at the start. Nothing here is falling back apart. Call my father after 14 years of nothing said. Didn't fix a thing and both of us were mostly dread. Stayed there on the phone for a very awkward hour. Nothing but healing and it wasn't any power. Caught again on Sunday and the second one was less. That's whole of the process. Everybody's waiting for a moment that repairs. Nothing on this earth was ever fixed by big affairs. Everything is stitches and it's one and then it's two. Nothing about drama, it's a hand and it's a view. If you have a something that is never closed at all, begins right there. Nobody makes anything from metal that is cold. Everything that shapes it has to first be uncontrolled. Push it in the coal until the color starts to run. Cherry into orange and it's nearly almost done. Take it out too early and it fights you at the strike. Take it out too late and it is nothing you would like. Same thing with a person and a season and a change. Everybody wants to make a thing without the range. Nobody's improving in a temperature they like. Nothing gets a new shape from a comfortable spike. Sat in the fire longer than I ever should have sat. Came out orange and flat. Hammer at the color while it glows. Nothing gets to argue when it flows. Everything I hit is what I chose. Forged light burning in the dark. Everything I'm making is a temporary spark. I don't get the shape until it's in the fire. Then I get about a minute to require everything I want out of the wire. Ring. The low end singing on the steel. Everything is soft enough to feel. Nothing in the cold was ever real. Kick into the shop, then he wanted to be taught. Showed him what a hot thing does and everything he thought went out of his head when the hammer met the glow. Fastest education anybody's ever know. Told him that the fire is the only real school. Everything else is a tool. Everybody's waiting for a comfortable design. Nothing that is comfortable has ever crossed the line. Every single object in this shop was in the cold. Every single one of them was screaming for a hole. If you wanna change, then you will have to hold the heat. Nothing else has ever made a Light of the forge, dying into gray. Everything I hammered took the shape I had to say. Let it cool and temper and it never goes back soft. Nothing that was orange is aloft. Everything is holding what I've rolled. Rain. Orange going gray and it is finished. Rain. Everything I made was in that light. Boots that nobody has comfort. Water that has nowhere it must be. Drove there on a Sunday when I couldn't stand my flat. Parking lot was empty and a bird was on a mat. Every single vessel had a top and had a rope. Nobody was sailing and there wasn't any hope. Beautiful and useless and completely out of rest. That was the exact thing I possessed. Sat there on a bullet for a considerable while. Water to a water, yeah, unremarkable style. Nobody arrived and nobody went away. Perfect kind of nothing on a perfect kind of day. Everything I carry got a little bit less loud. Nothing here required me to be proud. Rope on a cleat and it will hold. Nothing is going to be sold. Everything is quietly in. Heart of nobody, sheltered from the swell. Everything that's locked here has a story it won't tell. I don't need a voyage and I don't need a crew. Only need the water to be blue. Somewhere that has nothing left to do. Lap below and slapping at the hull. Everything is beautifully null. Nothing here is anything but full. Old man came at 4 with the bucket and a mop. Cleaned the boat that clearly was not going for a hop. Asked him where he sells it and he laughed for quite a bit. Said he hasn't sold since 96 and doesn't quit. Cleans it every Sunday and it's all he wants anything is keeping you prepared. Never have to leave the dark to prove it has been cared. If you ever something that just sits there and is yours, go and mop it, that is what it's for. Learned it at an age it should be cartons and beans. Nobody complained because complaining is a waste. Everything about us has a taste. Went to school with people from a wetter kind of town. Watched them leave a faucet on and never look down. Something in my body did a thing I can't describe. Anger is too big and it's a smaller kind of vibe. Never said a word because there's nothing you can say. Everybody's normal is a different day. In the shower, catching every drop. Nothing here is wasted and it won't stop. Everything is counted to the top. Drought Kids, careful with the cup, but everything we're holding is a thing we won't give up. I don't waste a thing and I don't understand anybody living with an open hand. Nothing here was ever unplanned. Delay, Nothing here was ever unplanned. Dry the low and cracking in the clay. Everything is rationed for the day. Nothing here is gonna wash away. Rain came back in April of a year I can't forget. Everybody standing in it absolutely wet. Coleman in the street with the faces to the sky. Nobody had language and there wasn't any why. Still I keep a bucket in the shower that runs fine. Can't I let it go? It's mine. Every kind of scarcity will right into the hand. Nothing you can therapy or fully understand. Half of it is damage and the other half is skill. Everybody carrying a different kind of till. If you grow up counting then you know the thing I mean. Nothing ever fully comes back green. Kids of the drought, older than the rain. Everything we learn from it is written in the grain. Let the reservoir come up and let the lawns go loud. I'll be with the bucket and I'm proud. Nothing new was ever just allowed. Grew up in a place that from birth to Grew up in a place that forgot the rain. Now I am the one kind of person coming down. North is where the wind will hit the face. Nothing around comfort in this place. Everything I wanted, watch it work. Compass rose, compass rose, spinning in my chest. Everything's directional, it's only ever guess. I don't know the ending and I don't know the cost. Only that the easy roads are lost. Something in the hard one isn't crossroad. The low end turning like a wheel. Everything I'm choosing is the real. Nothing in the map can make me kneel. Kid at a crossing, got me, which of them is best? Told her that the question is the thing that gets you messed. Every road is walkable and everyone is cost. Only one of them will leave you honestly embossed. Told her pick the one that makes your stomach go to stone. That is how a person gets a bone. Nobody can tell you which direction is the true. Half of it is chemistry and half of it is you. Every single compass in the world is pointing north. Nothing in the needle knows a thing about your worth. Point it at the thing that frightens you the most. Then go be a ghost. Rose of the compass steady in my hand. Everything I chose is the thing that I have planned. Let the easy travelers arrive and take the town. I'll be on the hill and looking down. Nothing here was given, it was found. Nothing here was given, it was found. Four directions and I took the hard one. Took the hard one. Every step of it was worth the win. Threads I do not know about the picture. Every one of them is going straight. Grandmother had a frame that took up half the room. Everything she made came off a very patient loom. Watched her every summer and I never saw the plan. Just 1,000 crossings of a thread across the span. Asked her what it's gonna be and she would only smile. Said that it will tell me in a while. Every single day is a thread across the frame. Nothing about Tuesday ever tells you what became. Everybody's looking for a meaning in the strand. Nothing in a single thread that anyone can stand. Meaning is the crossing and the crossing takes a life. That's the thing they cannot sell you in a night. Over and under and over again. Nothing in here is finished until then. Everything is pattern in the end. Loom, working while I sleep. Everything I'm crossing is a thing I get to keep. I don't see the picture and I never really will. Only get the shuttle and the skill. Something in the weaving is the thrill. Soft, the low and humming with the beat. Everything is joining at my feet. Nothing here is ever incomplete. Found her final piece when we were clearing out the flat. 20 years of crossings and I finally saw that all the ugly colors that I hated as a child turned out to be the shadow and it made the whole thing wild. Sat down on the carpet and I cried for half an hour. Every thread I hated had the power. If you're in a year picture. Somebody will see it and it's fine. Something heavy holding me in place. Everybody asks me why I keep it. Had a chance to leave and take a bigger kind of road. Everything about it was a lighter kind of load. Nothing but a suitcase and a very open sea. Everybody told me it was obviously me. Stood there on a Tuesday with the paperwork in hand. Looked back at a very ordinary land. Mother in a building that you cannot leave alone. Brother with a thing that he will never fully own. Nothing about duty, it's just what a person is. Everybody's carrying somebody else's biz. Chain went down and it went down into the mud. Held me through a decade and a flood. Weight of it is real and it is mine. Nothing about this is a fine. Everything that holds me is alive. Anchor chain dragging it in the deep. Everything that holds me is a thing I chose to keep. I don't call it prison and I won't pretend it's light. Only that it kept me through the night. Something that is heavy can be right. Drag the low and grinding on the floor. Everything is holding to the shore. Nothing here is asking to be more. Man who took the ocean sends a message twice a year. Beautiful and empty and it's very hard to hear. Everything is seen and there is nobody to tell. Every port is lovely and it's absolutely hell. Wouldn't trade my Tuesdays for a single one of those. That's the thing a person only knows. Everybody's telling you the cutting of the chain. Nobody's discussing what a drifting boat became. Freedom is a beautiful and dangerous device. Half of us are better with the price. If you have a weight that keeps you steady in the swell, do not let them tell you it's a cell. Chain of the anchor buried in the sand. Everything that holds me is a thing that I have planned. Let the ocean offer me 100 kinds of go. I'll be at the harbor moving slow. Heavy is the only thing I know. Heavy is the only thing I know. Something heavy holding me in place. Now they ask me how I stayed so steady. Turn it on at dusk and never watch it. Nobody out there ever writes to say. Let's go, bunny, buddy, go, best day. Job is very simple and it doesn't take a mind. Climb it in the evening and you leave the dark behind. Nobody inspects it and there isn't any boss. Nothing but a bulb and a considerable moss. 22 years standing at the top of the stair. Never met a sailor and I never got a share. Some nights I would wonder if a single ship went by. Nothing in the water and no answer in the sky. Kept it burning anyway because that's what it's for. Doesn't need a witness and it doesn't need a war. Wife said it's lonely and she wasn't wrong at all. Also it's the cleanest thing I own, a van. shook my hand and cried. 1980 something on a boat and nearly died. Saw the light and turned and made it into the bay. Never knew my face and never had a way. 20 minutes talking and he left me on the stair. Best wage I ever got and it was there. Everybody's doing something nobody can see. Half the world is standing at a limp above a sea. Nothing will confirm it and there won't be any list. Somebody will say but something you insist. If you're in a limp and you are tired and unsure, keep it burning, that's the cure. Wages of the lighthouse, counting in the dark. Everything I've given out, a ride without a mark. Let the ocean take whatever it is planned. I'll be up the stair with the match in hand. Someone in the water Turn it on at dusk and one man saw it. 22 years and that was worth it all. Nobody photographs the posing pins. Everybody photographs the tower. Everything you're looking at was held up by a frame. Nobody remembers it and nothing knows its name. Hugs and boards and clamps and a very careful crew, standing for a season while the actual thing grew. Then they take it down and there's a monument in place. Nothing in a picture of the scaffolding or face. Every person standing has a structure underneath. Somebody who fed them and who kept them out of teeth. Teacher in the hallway who decided you were worth. Somebody who jerked you every morning since your birth. Nobody remembers them and nobody should. That's the whole arrangement and it's good. Hold it to the wall and hold the load. Nothing here is meant to be the road. Everything supporting will be told. The scaffolding, temporary and exact. Everything essential is a thing that gets unstacked. I don't need the credit and I don't need the plaque. Only need the building to stand up at my back. Nothing about this is a lack. Playing the low and ringing off the pipe. Nothing here is asking for a stripe. Been the tower once and I have been the frame as well. Frame is hard to work and it is difficult to tell. Nobody applauds you when the building starts to shine. Everybody's looking at a very different line. Learn to like the quiet of the taking of it down. That's the whole of what it is to hold a town. If somebody held you up and you have not gone back, go and find their number and describe the actual stats. Tell them what they were and what the building came to be. Nothing on this earth is worth as much as being seen. Every tower standing is a debt that isn't paid. Go and pay a little the trade. Scaffolding coming down, stacked up on the truck. Everything I held up is a thing that had the luck. Let the tower shine and let them take the picture too. I'll be at the yard and loading through. Somebody has to be the crew. Somebody has to be the crew. Nobody photographs the pose and pins. Somebody should, and I just did. Folded something soft into a weapon. Nobody could tell it from above. Mother taught me paper on the floor of a small flat. Cranes and boats and animals and this and also that. Never had a toy that somebody had bought. Everything I played with was the thing that I had brought. Learned that any surface can become another thing. Learned it in the winter with a very little spring. School was full of people with the harder kind of hand. Never had the muscle so I had to understand. Turn the whole geometry of what a girl can do into something folded and completely see mansion, thought he had the room. Everything about him was expensive and a boom. Folded up his argument the way I fold a swan. Handed it back neatly and the leverage was gone. Never raise a finger and I never raise a word. Paper doesn't cut it when it's hurt. Everybody thinks the hard thing is the strong thing. Nothing about hardness ever mattered in the ring. Ask about a paper cut and watch a person wins. Softness with a purpose is the argument since. If you're small and folded and they think you're just a bird, let them keep believing every word. Fist made of origami, opening the fold. Everything they thought about me is a thinking they're told. Let them see a crane and let them see a boat. I'm the thing that's underneath the coat. Paper is the sharpest thing I wrote. Paper is the sharpest thing I wrote. Folded something soft and made away. Nobody could tell it was a blade. Every door in town has met my father. Every door in town has met me too. Grew up in a shop with 1,000 kinds of key. Learned the whole anatomy of what will not be free. Father used to say that a lock is a suggestion meant for honest people, and it isn't a question. Watched him open houses for a widow at a loss. Never charged $1 and he never called it cost. Went into an office where the door was very grand. Everybody nervous with the resume in hand. Looked at the mechanism and I nearly had to laugh. Cheapest kind of cylinder and half of it was staff. Nobody in there ever studied what it takes. Everything they're guarding is a promise that it makes. Pins in a row and the tension in the plug. Every single system is a shrug. Everything protected wants a hug. Locksmith's daughter listening for the click. Everything they bolted is a very common trick. I don't break the door and I don't break the frame. Only understand it till it says my name. Nothing in the building stays the same. Turn the low and sliding in the slot. Everything is open that was not. Nobody remembers what they've got. Man behind the desk asked me how I got inside. Told him that he hired me and told him with the pride. Every single job I take begins the exact same. Understand the barrier and never blame the frame. Nobody's a genius, they just sat there with the thing. That is the entirety of the ring. Everything that's keeping you outside of what you want was designed by somebody exhausted at a font. Nothing about locks was ever meant to be forever. Half of them are theater and most of them are clever. Study it for longer than the person who installed. Then the door will open when it's cold. Daughter of the locksmith standing in the hall. Everything they trusted was a hopeful kind of wall. I don't want their silver and I don't want their crown. Only wanted proof that it could all come down. Now I've got a workshop of my own. Every door in town has met my father. Every door remembers what I did. Nothing moves, and then the whole thing moves. Everything at once, and never gradual. Snow arrives in layers over months upon the face. everything is moving and it's black. Nothing on the slope is coming back. Lit up hit in April just to see what I had made. Every single layer of the decade on parade. Found a year in that there was a very hollow band. Everything above it was a thing I couldn't stand. Spend the summer stabilizing everything below. That's the only way to let it snow. If you're on a surface that has held for many years, please go dig a pit and find the layer of the fears. Nothing about commas ever proven it is sound. Everything contrasted was already in the ground. Better to disturb it on a morning you were picked than a Tuesday when you licked. Math of the avalanche, solving in the sun. Everything I dug for is a thing I had to run. Let the mountain hold whatever it has held. I'll be at the pit until it's bare. Nothing here will bury what I felt. Nothing here will bury what I felt. Nothing moves because I moved it first. Everything at once. Everything at once. Everything at once was never coming. Ooh, 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 ooh. Na-na-na-na-na. Beat the whole harvest until it separates. Everything you kept was in the middle. Everything I gathered in a decade of a run, piled it on the floor and I began when it was done. Beat it with the flail till the outer part came loose. Everything I own I turned to absolutely use. Half of what I carried was a husk around a lie. Watch it lift and fly. Friendships in the pile and I beat them all the same. Some of them were kernels and the rest of them were names. Projects that I'd nurtured for a very long time turned out to be casing and there wasn't any rhyme. Nobody enjoys it and it takes a brutal arm. Nothing but kindness keeps a farm. Toss it in the air and let the wind decide. Nothing that is hollow gets to ride. Everything remaining is the pride. Threshing floor, dust up to my knee. Everything I got is a thing I have to free. I don't get to keep the huskies good. Only get the huskies good. Only get the kernel and the light. Nothing that is empty gets to shine. The low wind pounding on the stone. Everything is separating bone. Nothing in the chaff was ever grown. Ended with the love it from its head where I've honored in the floor. Terrifying quantity of nothing on the floor. Sat down in the middle and I nearly lost my nerve. Everything I carried was a thing I didn't serve. Then I looked inside the basket and I understood. All of it was actually Everybody's carrying a barn that never soared. Half a lid is casing and it's holding up the floor. Nothing about volume ever fed a single one. Basket beats a bomb when it is done. If you're overwhelmed by everything you've got, beat it on a floor and see what's not. Floor of the threshing slab, wet and standing bare. Everything that mattered fits inside a chair. Let the wind take everything it wants to take. Nothing in the basket is a fake. Small and full is all I have to make. feels a continent, decides to move. Takes 100,000 mornings and it has to prove. Nothing on the surface gives away the plan. Coffee and a Tuesday in a quiet man. I have been arranging for a very long time. Plates beneath the language I was told to mime. One day there's a tremor and the china sings. That's the only warning that a movement brings. Count the little cracks along the wall. Nothing here is small. Nothing here is small. Tectonic slower than alive. Everything I'm building is beneath the knife. I don't need a decade to be recognized. Continents don't argue when they realize. Deep below and grinding under stone. Something enormous getting People want an earthquake with the date attached. Something they can film and something they can catch. Mine is in the basement doing what it does. Nobody applauds the thing before it was. Every skyline standing was a slow collapse. Somebody's foundation on a shifting map. Nothing about patience is a lack of force. Patience is the shape of the enormous course. Plate under plate, pressed into the seam. Everything I wanted was a longer dream. Let the surface hold its coffee and its calm. Underneath I'm rearranging every arm. Something underneath has finally decided. Something here is smiling. Something here is smiling. The phone's on and the word goes out. Nobody's religion looks like anything they said. Mine is at a desk with a cable in my head. Show up in the morning and I do the ugly part. Nothing about it is romantic in the start. Prayer is a schedule that I keep without a God. Faith is in the doing when the doing is a slog. Miracles are rare, but the practice is right. Something in repeating makes a thing come out right. Let it in and let the current run. Everything I worship gets it done. Wired sane, halo made of light. Nothing supernatural about it in the slightest. Don't need a heaven and I don't need a sign. Only need the hours and the fact that they are mine. Hummed low and running like a vow. Hurry, yeah. Everything I'm building is the now. Hurry, yeah. Somebody asked me what I'm doing this all for. Didn't have an answer that could satisfy the floor. Truth is that the doing is the whole of the reward. Nothing at the ending that the middle can't afford. Move so fast I left the line in there. Vapor trail, the proof that I was there. Gone before they turn to see me pass. Vapor trail written on the glass of the sky that held the evidence of speed. Vapor trail, the only proof they need. The jet is gone but still you see the street. Vapor trail, the residue of peak. Velocity that cut across the blue. Vapor trail, the lingering and true. Speed leaves something even when it's gone. Vapor trail, the mark that lingers on. The evidence of how fast I flew. Vapor trail across the view. Gone before they register the past. Vapor trail written on the glass. Vapor trail, the mark speed leaves behind. Proof of velocity for the watching mind. Gone before they turn to see me fly. Vapor trail painted on the sky. Not the soul that leaves no trace at all. Vapor trail answering the call. The lingering evidence of flight. Vapor trail across the line. Gone but marked forever. Vapor trail, the clever. Long after passing they still saw the line. Vapor trail, the residual sign. Speed that cut across the lazy day. Vapor trail that wouldn't fade away. The fastest things leave evidence in there. Vapor trail proving they were there. Even when the engines far beyond. Vapor trail, the lingering bond. Vapor trail, the sky still holds some heart. Velocity that cut across the dark. Gone before they turn to see me pass. Vapor trail written on the glass. Not the soul that leaves the air in touch. Vapor trail, the speed that mattered much. The lingering proof of how I flew. Vapor trail across the blue. Faster left the mark vapor. Shot it up when the darkness closed in. Bright enough to cut through all the dim. Signal flare when the map ran out. Asking to be found without a doubt. Yeah. 3 days past the point of self-sufficient. Every resource spent the map definition. Reach for the one thing left to do. Signal flare burning red into the blue. Not a weakness, a strategic call. Knowing when to ask peace, knowing all the pride of solo navigation breaks. Signal flare is what survival takes. Watch the arc against the night sky climb. The highest point of the lowest time. Someone on the ridge line caught the light. Signal flare converting dark to right. The rescue wasn't charity or shame. Signal flare is just a rescue game. Everyone gets lost in different weather. Signal flare is how we find each other. The flare goes up when the path goes dark. Not surrender, just a navigation mark. Signal flare is tactical and real. Asking to be found is how you heal. Signal flare when you need to be found. Burning through the silence underground. Not the failure that the ego fears. Signal flare cutting through the years. Every person who has ever sent one up. Signal flare filling the empty cup. Asking for direction isn't weak. Signal flare is what the strong ones seek. Flare up be first. Signal flare. Sacred ground, sacred ground. Received a flare from someone else last spring. Recognized the yard knew everything. Crossed the ridge and found them in the cold. Signal flare, the oldest story told. Now I carry extras just in case someone needs a light in the dark space. What I needed then I carry now. Signal flare, the unspoken vow. Vulnerability is not the opposite of strength. It's a signal that you're strength when it's full length. Signal are different here. Read the city or disappear. Move through the red light, water finds its level. Break the block before you reach the revel. Concrete jungle rules were never written down. Pass through posture, pacing, knowing the town. Eye contact calibrated to the context. Every neighborhood a different subtext. The city is a language you must learn to speak. Concrete jungle rules, the strong and the meek. Watch the veterans navigate the noise. Minimal gesture carrying maximum poise. The body language flowing in the urban. Every interaction managing the turbine. Know which streets to take at which hour. Concrete jungle rules of knowledge and power. The tourist sees the surface and the danger. The resident moves through it like a ranger. Survive the concrete jungle by becoming fluent. Every rule unwritten but consistent. Read the city like it's reading you. Concrete jungle rules coming through. Concrete jungle rules for staying alive. Reading every signal just to thrive. Thinking in the city is coincidental. Catching jungle rules are fundamental. Move with purpose, waste no visible attention. Never breathe the red with urban intention. Never fuck a lesson in the real. Concrete jungle rules, the only deal. Real deal. The only deal. Real. Read and move it, own it. Concrete jungle, never own it. Taught the rules to someone new in town. Watch them stumble, then begin to drown in the surface overwhelm of everything. Concrete jungle rules are the offering. Pass the knowledge that I earned the hard way. Concrete jungle rules built over many a day. The city takes from those who never learn. Concrete jungle rules, knowledge earned. Every city has its own specific grammar. Every block a different paragraph. Concrete jungle rule me into something harder and more fluent than the math. Concrete jungle rules and I'm a native now. Navigated every why and every how. Move through danger but become common language. Concrete jungle rules the only bandwidth. Nothing in the urban dark surprises. Concrete jungle built me past the crisis. Every law learned the city gave. Concrete jungle rules respect the way. Oh, still moving, still reading, still here, yeah. When the grid goes down, the real begins. Dark reveals what daylight hides within. Blackout season stripping back the noise. Only what survives the dark has voice. Street light ghosts and wet pavement below. Navigating by the last ember glow. The power grid surrender to the storm. Blackout season redefining what is warm. Phone screen dark, no algorithm feed. Just the way to what you actually need. City silent in a way it never gets. Blackout season calling in his debts. Found the candles in the drawer from last year. Flame illuminating what was never clear. Shadows doing what the bright lights couldn't. Revealing structure that the daylight wouldn't. Neighbors knocking that I never before. Blackout season opening the door. Community assembled in the dark. Blackout season lighting a different spark. When the system fails, the human stays. When the signal drops, the signal phrase. Blackout season burning through the artificial. What remains is primal and official. Blackout season when the lights go down. Stripping everything that doesn't hold its ground. Darkness has a filter for the real. Blackout season teaching you to feel. No distraction, no curated feed. Blackout season giving what you need. Every artificial thing is gone away. Blackout season turning night to day. Dark, real, raw. Blackout season breaking every law. Yeah, morning came and power was restored. Everything that hummed before was roared. But something in the blackout left a mark. Knew myself better in the dark. Grids come back, but the lesson doesn't leave. Blackout season woven in the weave. Carried forward into every lit room since blackout season. Permanent imprint. Every system has a breaking point. Every circuit overloads the joint. The blackout isn't failure, it's a reset. ashore. Not afraid of what the dark reveals. Blackout season showing what is real. Every grid that fails has done its part. Blackout season lived inside the heart. The lights came back, I didn't need them anymore.